in order to get this scene into my final scene, I'm going to collect everything into one supermodel. So I have models within models within models, and a reference model within the model within a model. I'll make another model. I'll call this to export. And in it, we're going to pull in our lights, our rifle, the Mulcore character, and the other items. So I'm going to actually replace this ground with the ground in the set in a moment, but for now I can take the entire scene that I've got and export it. So I'll export it into my training project, call it to export, call it rifle effects rig. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. I remember that sometimes when you export a model where the name change is different than the model you have in your scene, sometimes you might lose a couple of connections. So I'm actually going to play it safe and export the model like so. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is close both scenes. I'll save this one last time here. I'll close the scene down, and I'll open up my browser and bring in my models. So I'll have actually a backdrop to render this against. I'll open up the environment model and my good old stand-in of destroyed buildings. Now I don't really want the light provided by this scene, so I'm going to close it down. And if I open up the most modified project to date, there it is, the to export, I'll bring it into my scene. And I need to replace the ground obstacle with my own. The character is also quite large for the set, so I'll take the entire set. This is much easier this way. I'll take both set models. I'll make a transform group for them, so a null to act as both of their parents. I'll use it to scale my set to the character. It's much easier to scale your set to a character than to scale your character to a set, as the particulars of the character often are a lot more important or finicky than the set itself. So again, there's the scale. My character just kind of fits in the door there. I could probably make this a little larger. Say something like that, and then we'll move this over. Okay, so if I was actually going to play this, let's just make sure everything's working still. And unfortunately, nothing is working. And the reason here is probably because of how we've exported the model. So let's have a look in our to export model. Let's have a look at our muzzle flash, and let's inspect it. So where we actually lost some of our connectivity here is in the reference model parent. So I actually need to reconnect to this object here because it's now within a larger model space. So on the layer, the clip that I'm using, I'm actually going to have to jump in here. And actually, I might need to select this again. I'm going to go in and select this model, open up the mixer, and it should be in the Mulcore model character or the medium rifle. Oh, my bad. It's actually sitting right here, deep embedded inside of the reference model. Again, when you deal with models inside of models inside of models, this is one of the risks you run when you're sharing your ice tree. So we just need to update this. So I'll bring this value in again, and I'll reconnect, and everything is okay. So everything's good there. The tree works. Let's make sure that the other trees haven't lost any connectivity. I'll grab the bullet tracer scene, and we have some lost connectivity here as well. Again, it's the same issue. So I'll just drag the weight clip in again, and connect in both cases here. Just going to make sure that on the muzzle flash scene, yeah, I only had one multiply by scalar to connect to. And finally, on the cartridge ejection, we need to do the same thing. Okay, there we go. So that should do it now. Let's press play. Yep, everything seems to be working just fine again. I would also need to reconnect my bullet casings to the correct object. So there's the bullet casing object. So in the case of the cartridge ejection ice tree, if I open up my ice tree, I'm going to want to point my instance shape to the bullet casing object. There we go. So everything's working once again. Now the last thing I need to connect to, of course, is the surface of my new ground. So I'm going to be replacing my ground object with a ground object from the environment model. So if I open up my transform group and I access my models, I'm going to take the pathway and grassy area, both areas here. I'm actually just going to have the character probably shoot towards the house. So really I'm just going to use the pathway as an obstacle. If the character was interacting with the entire set, of course we could use the entire set. So I'll rename this. Actually, I'll delete my ground. And one of the cool things is the way ice deals with dangling hooks. If you have a look at the cartridge ejection ice tree, it's still looking for an object called ground, and it's looking for it in this model. So if I was actually to take my pathway object and rename it to ground, it won't exactly pick up the object because it's looking for it in the current model. But if I was to drop it into my current model, I believe it's in this one here. Actually, it didn't look like it picked it up. Okay, well, I touted it a little bit too quickly. In any event, I'm just going to actually drag the model in and connect it as a surface. And that should do just fine there. That cleans up that ice tree as well. Let's actually take the character, the reference model parent, and I'm going to move that character over just a little bit. So we're almost done here. Actually, what I'm going to try doing is let me just unhide this model. There we go. Just going to move everything over the rifle effects rig and rotate it around. Again, what I was just trying to do there, I was kind of fumbling around there a little bit. I just wanted to move the character and the rifle, and I realized that the rifle and the model are in separate models, and they're actually a child of this export rifle effects rig, so I actually could just use that. Okay, let's actually have the character aim at something, because it doesn't look like it's really doing too well in the aiming department. So let's just say the character's trying to shoot at these barrels here. Okay, so maybe Mulcor is just really angry and is trying to just take out this house. So let's see what we've got. Okay, that's kind of working. I think what I need to do with my set light, the light 1, which is acting as my main shadow casting light, this is my actual key light here, is I'm going to have to exclude the sky dome to get the shadows working. So let me try and take my key light here. I'll make it an exclusive light, which it currently is, and I'll associate that key light, primitive light, associate light, to my sky object. So that should change the illumination on the houses. And allow me to get some shadows into this scene. Okay, so that's really good too. Maybe the last thing I need to do here is the shadows are kind of coming in at a pretty hard angle. I do want the house to be illuminated. So I'll change those angles a little bit, and let's see if we have a better looking render. If I increase the aliasing, I should smooth out those tracer blasts as well. Alright, so I think that's looking pretty good. Let me just get one shot at the actual muzzle blast here. So I think 32 or 33 worked. just draw a quick render region. And that actually looks like it's working well. Okay, so let's do some final preps and then we can render.